Hello again, this is Sam Robinson, lead level designer on StealthInc 2. Today's video is going to focus on the GamePad and how we've used the GamePad to enhance the single player experience in StealthInc, but also to create a two-player cooperative mode which allows you to play the entire game with a friend. Because StealthInc 2 was built for the Wii U, there are a lot of features that incorporate the GamePad. Anytime during single player, you can look down at your GamePad and see the map of the overworld. This uncovers in real time, and you can use the touchscreen to select areas and check your progress. You can also use the GamePad to customize your character, which updates in real time on the TV screen. StealthInc 2 also supports off-TV mode, so you can turn that on at any time and play on your GamePad. So once you've completed Area 1, you'll find this collectible that unlocks the cooperative mode, and this expands the use of the GamePad even further. At this point, the primary player would switch to a nunchuck or Wii Pro controller, and the new co-op player would use the GamePad. And the GamePad player can use all these new controls and the touchscreen to help the main player who's playing on the TV screen. The GamePad player actually has an independent camera, so they can pan around and explore ahead of where the clone player is. The GamePad player also has access to this whiteboard, which allows them to draw out clues and messages for the player on the TV screen. So two heads are better than one when completing these puzzles and exploring the overworld, so this can become very helpful. The co-op player can provide directions or clues to puzzles that they think they've solved, and essentially speeds up the way that the two players can communicate with each other. Hacking terminals in co-op mode will also require the help of the player on the GamePad. When you approach a terminal and start hacking, you'll be presented with these numbers. You're going to have to read these numbers out to your co-op player, who has to key them in on their GamePad. Completing this successfully rewards the co-op player with these gems, which they can collect by touching the touchscreen. Collecting these gems fills up this gauge in the upper right, and when you fill this gauge you get to choose from a special ability, and you can then use these abilities to help the clone player. You can use this anti-light, which creates a zone of invisibility around the player. The GamePad player could also use this holographic decoy, which is a hologram of the player and distracts enemies by sight. There's also the sonic decoy, which will distract enemies by sound. So this is especially useful if you're inside a dark environment or you need to create a broader distraction. In co-op mode, some of the enemies are actually invisible, so the GamePad player can run their finger around the touchscreen and can highlight these enemies for the player on the TV. So we've already covered quite a lot that the co-op player is responsible for, but this is only the beginning. As you go through the game, you unlock these gadgets, and the co-op player shares the responsibility of using these toys. So with the Inflator-Mate, for example, the co-op player on the GamePad can move this around, placing the gadget in places that the player couldn't previously throw this before. At first this might seem a little bit dangerous, but after practice and with a bit of coordination, this can actually speed up the times in which you complete these tests. When you get the Jack Boy and you jack an enemy, the GamePad player will actually take control of the robot that you've taken over. Not only is it a lot of fun to go through the test chambers with these two independently controlled characters, but once you complete these tests and take it out into the exploratory world, you can then take over robots anywhere you go. When you get to the Adventure Light, the GamePad player can move this around in the same way as the Inflator-Mate. So using the touchscreen, they can move this light around and guide the player through really dark areas. And now one of my favourite things about the co-op is that when you get to the Me Too, you can create another clone on screen. So now we give the co-op player independent control of that other clone. So now you have two clones on screen. And once you complete these tests, you can take this out into the exploratory world and you can run around as two clones. What's more is that when one clone dies, that's not game over anymore. If one clone survives, that remaining player can re-clone the other player. So as the game gets harder, this device actually makes things easier for you. So I think that covers almost everything. I haven't even mentioned the next gadget. That's for you to go into the game and discover for yourself. But I hope you can see from what I have shown you that the co-op mode gets richer and richer as you progress through this game and as you unlock these abilities and gadgets. Thank you very much for watching. I know it's been a long video, but I had to cram it all in there. I should probably mention that Stealth Inc. 2, A Game of Clones, is available on the eShop right now. Tune in next time and I'll give a tutorial on how to use the level editor and community maps. Thank you again and take it easy. Goodbye.